Okay, well, we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Novi. I have been teaching for almost 4 years. Come August, this will be a 30-minute like stretch and de-stress class. I always accidentally say stress and de-stress, but we're going to be stretching and not stressing. Um, Let me think. Today, we will also not need any props. I recommend some water next to you. I'm gonna get my AirPods plugged in for me real quick. They're charging. But if we want to just lay all the way down on our mats, taking a few moments to relax, we'll find some breathing after that. Okay, I hope everyone can still hear me, but if not, feel free to yell out that you can't hear me. But once again, laying all the way down on our mat. We're just going to take a moment here to acknowledge how we're feeling. Noticing what is tight, maybe what parts of our body are the sorest after waking up in the morning. Noticing how we're breathing naturally as is, what's rising and falling. And then thinking about why we came to class today. So maybe you're trying to stay more consistent. Maybe you're finding that stretching in the morning is one of your favorite things. I know it's one of my favorite things. But knowing that I am so proud of you for being here, and that I'm excited for us to get started with this class today. And getting started with a little bit of breathing. So if we would like, feel free to take our hands, moving them right onto the belly. We inhale, noticing that the belly raises up towards the ceiling. Our hands float up with it. And as we exhale, the belly button comes all the way back down to the spine. Our hands sink into the body. And this is called our belly breathing. Feeling free to exhale as loud as we want. That's the great thing about virtual. You do not have to think about whether your neighbor can hear you breathe or not, because sometimes it's really good to take that deep sigh. So I invite you to find a space to do that today. And with our breathing, I want us to inhale, thinking of something we're grateful for, letting it be small or big. And as we exhale, thinking of something that we would like to do today, in the future, maybe something we're looking for. And once again, inhaling, finding that gratitude, thanking yourselves for being here especially. And as we exhale, once again, thinking of a goal, something, once again, that we want, materialistic, maybe a promotion, or for me, I can think of a few handbags, but something that brings us joy primarily. Maybe thinking about coffee or what we want for breakfast. And taking one more breath, finding ourselves thinking about how we are capable of so much more that we give ourselves credit for. Letting yourself know you are powerful, and exhale. Thinking of your own affirmation today. What do you need to hear to create a great day for yourself? And let's begin to bring one knee into the chest. I'm going to do my right and allowing it to come as deep into the chest as we would like. And then rolling out that ankle. We're welcoming all the pops. Once again, I am quite loud in my musculoskeletal system. So if you can hear me, I apologize. But just giving yourself this time and reversing this circle that we're making with our ankles. The bug on my mat. Beautiful. And now bringing our opposite leg into the chest, extending the one we just rolled out. Finding lots of love to our hip flexors today, taking that same ankle roll. Giving ourselves some time. Giving our body this moment of stretching, especially in the hip flexors. Mine are always sore in the mornings. And let's reverse that circle if we haven't already. And now extending both legs back out, we reach for the first leg that we did again. So mine's my right. We're bringing that back into the chest. And now bending our opposite knee so that our foot can rest flat on the mat, taking our ankle right on top of that knee while sending the right knee or the left knee, depending on what side we're on, out to the side. So we're finding this figure four stretch. We can rock from side to side here for a little bit. Ooh, but when we're ready, holding our hamstring closer to us if we would like. Knowing that this is just an option, this might be a lot for us this morning, knowing that's okay. And then one more option, if we have space, to bring our hands out into a T or a wide V. And let's pause at the center. We'll go ahead and switch legs. So the leg that we had in is going to stamp on the mat. While now my left leg, or whichever opposite leg you had, the ankle will rest on that knee, and then the knee of the leg we're stretching reaches out to the side. And once again, rocking from side to side here, knowing that you have that option of reaching for that hamstring, deepening the stretch through the glutes a little bit, but knowing that's just an option this morning. Now bringing both knees back into the chest, giving ourselves a quick hug, planting our feet on the mat so that the lower back feels nice and comfortable. We're going to inhale our hands all the way overhead, reaching nice and long. Inhaling here, opening up the chest, and let's circle the arms down to the side. So imagining a snow angel here, reaching our hands back up, even though it's Texas. Once again, imagining our snow angel, but just in case, thinking of a bird here, reaching its wings up. And one more. Beautiful. Once again, let's bring both knees or just one knee into the chest. We're going to roll up to seated. We also have an option to lean onto our side and come up with our hands supporting us. But if we're rolling up, we bring the head down to the chest and use that momentum to welcome ourselves up to a seated position. So y'all can remain facing this direction, but I'm going to turn towards y'all. And here we're going to find some neck circles this morning. So first, starting off with just some lateral bends over to one side, then over to the other side. We can use our hand to lightly guide our head a little bit deeper, but that touch is super light, not letting us go any farther than if we feel any pain, especially. So staying nice and safe today. And when we feel like we're ready, we can stay here with our lateral bends. Then eventually, we reach over to one lateral side, now resting the chin down and rolling to the other side and welcoming us to take the chin up, finding about 4 circles on this side. And whenever we're done with those 4, depending on our pace, we will go ahead and rewind. And so going in the opposite direction. For me, sometimes in group fitness, I get confused which direction I'm going. So knowing that maybe if you don't remember the past direction, knowing that we just want to make sure that the other side of the neck is getting just as much treatment. So finding maybe a stretch at the end if we maybe found not the opposite side of the circle. And we'll do one more neck circle wherever we are. And let's pause with our chin down on our chest, rolling the rest of it up. Now let's reach our hands closer up to the ceiling. We circle the arms up. Here, exhaling, we tap both hands down to the left side of the body. Exhaling here. And twisting a little deeper. We come back up. Let's inhale. And exhale. Finding this about 2 more times at our own pace. We can go as deep as we'd like behind us. We can keep our gaze just down at the side, knowing that that is a great option, or we can take it to behind the shoulder, adding that cervical spine to the rest of that spinal twist. Meeting me back at center. After this last one, I do have one more. Great job. I'm going to continue to face a direction that y'all might be facing. So I'm going to turn my body back this way, but y'all would not have to do any of that directionally. And we're going to start a little bit of movement. We're on all fours. We have the shoulders directly over the wrists and hips directly over the knees. When my wrists start to hurt here in this position, I like to spread out my hands as wide as possible and make sure to press to this thumb pad to give our wrists a great base of support. I don't know if y'all can hear my ice maker, but it's a little noisy. So first, we're taking our hips down to the heels. We're going to allow our knees to stay in parallel, but reaching the fingertips even farther. We exhale here. And as we inhale and come back up to our quadruped, we're going to allow ourselves to find a cow position. So dropping the belly button down, rolling the shoulders down and back. We take the tailbone up. For me, I like to engage my core so I can feel a stretch all the way down. And when we are ready to exhale, we now send the spine up towards the ceiling. We push the mat away so that the space between the shoulder blades becomes greater, and we fall right back down to our child's pose. Once we're ready to inhale, coming back to that cow, taking a long breath. And exhale, first moving into our cat, and then lowering down to our child's pose. Taking this at our own pace about 3 more times. maybe finishing up our last one, meeting me back in a child's pose. And once again, taking our time here, knowing that you have ample time to be able to work with me. If you'd like to continue doing that move, that is also fine because I cannot see y'all. And so we have no judgment. I have no expectations for you this morning except to move safely. So taking our hands out in front of us, we rise up to our quadruped and we're going to really anchor our hands down into the mat. We flip the toes, reaching the tailbone up towards the ceiling. So we want to make that tailbone the tip of our triangle here. And we're going to start to walk our dog. So bending one knee, straightening the other, and then pedaling through this movement here. Reaching one heel closer to the ground than the other. And next, let's pause, finding our right leg, moving up towards the ceiling, opening up through that hip. Option to send this leg out behind us as well. And we're going to bend this knee underneath the body, walking forward with the hands just slightly and planting the foot down at a good spot. We can move our back leg closer up or further out as we take both hands to the inside of the foot. So we reach both hands in. This is our lizard pose. We want it to really stretch out that hip flexor. Option here to put the back knee down, giving ourselves a little bit more flexibility. Staying here. Let's do 2 more breaths. And to maneuver back to our downward dog, we're going to allow our hips to move back behind us, taking this leg, wrapping it back to meet the other. And once again, really making sure our hands are secure as we flip the toes onto the mat and take the hips all the way up. And so reaching the tailbone up even farther. And next, taking that left leg, or whichever leg we didn't do before, out behind us. Option to stay here or move it closer up towards the ceiling. Maybe opening up that hip just a little bit. And then bending the knee. We move it underneath the body. I like to come into almost a cat here to make more space for my knee. As a woman who has a little bit of a bigger chest, sometimes it's really hard to put this knee down. But once again, we take both hands on the inside of this foot. Staying here, or we can lower that back knee down and rest. Once again, we have about 2 more breaths. And finishing up once again, we can take our hips back, whether our knee is up or down, placing both knees back on the mat. And we are going to allow ourselves to walk forward with the hands. Starting to bring the hips down onto our mat, bending our elbows so that we are being supported by the elbows in the front of the body. Opening up the chest here as well. Trying to elongate our abdominals. This is called our Sphinx pose. Breathing through the ribs here. Trying to calm down just a little bit. And next, lowering all the way to the ground, folding our elbows, one on top of the other, so we can make ourselves a little pillow to put our forehead on, forehead to forearms. And then bending both knees so the feet reach up towards the ceiling. Rocking from side to side with those feet. So we're finding a little bit of a quad massage here. Feeling free to turn our head. Beautiful. And let's go ahead, taking our feet back down. We are going to roll onto our favorite side, but preferably the side where you can see me in your camera. We stack both knees on top of one another. We're in a little bit of a fetal position. If you would like to grab a pillow underneath your head here, I highly recommend. We're going to allow both hands to stack on top of one another, finding a little alligator motion with our hands. And we're going to work on some shoulder mobility as we wrap up class today. So reaching the top hand, whichever one we have on top, even farther. We're protracting that top shoulder blade. We reach. And then curling the fingers underneath in the top hand. We make a little fist. We start to reach across the arm, starting to turn all the way open. We find a bit of a spinal twist. My hand cannot extend any farther because of this piece of furniture, but I'm going to bring mine up, but straightening our hand here. Our hand, our arm, and then curling back in, once again, starting with the fingertips and the wrists. We fold the elbow in, the fingertips glide across the shoulder, the chest, the opposite shoulder, and we return back. So this is our telescope arms. I want us to find this about 2 more times, going at our own pace. Really making sure that we are finding that scapular mobility here. Making sure that we reach the fingertips super long first, and then glide all the way across. This is my last one. Maybe finishing up our last one. Maybe you're already done and you're just waiting for me to switch sides. And we roll back in. So I recommend turning on to your opposite side and doing the same thing. But if you would like to keep your eyes on me, I am going to come up to the other side of the mat and face y'all on my opposite side. So finding that fetal position once again. This time the hands are still stacked on top of one another. We are doing great on time this morning. So we have hands stacked, noticing that when they're stacked, the fingertips may just be right at the hand or the palm. And then reaching those fingertips nice and long. We extend that shoulder blade out. Once again, gliding those fingertips across the forearm, the elbow, the bicep, the shoulder, chest to the opposite shoulder, and reach it all the way out straight or up if you're like me and you have limited space. And starting once again to curl in those fingers now. We bend in by the wrist and the elbow, gliding our hand all the way back. We have 2 more of these once again, taking our time, feeling no rush. For me, I hold quite a bit of tension in my shoulders. I get lots of stress and start to hunch, which makes my shoulders very tight. So any scapular mobility that I can get, I will take it. We have one more thing called the pinwheel that we won't be doing today, but we might do in the next class. So get excited for that. And wrapping up our last one, if we're not already there.
Turning all the way back to hands stacked on top of one another, we are going to turn onto our backs now. Option, once again, to have the feet flat on the mat or reaching straight out. We are going to start once again that breathing here, reminding ourselves that we are calm. Bring the belly up towards the ceiling. We inflate that balloon in the belly. And exhale, we bring the belly button all the way back into the spine. Our belly breathing, once again, is a great tool to use when we are stressed or when things start to feel away from us. Taking control of our nervous system by allowing us to move out of our fight or flight and into our rest and digest. Leaving here today, knowing that you are amazing, that I am proud of you for coming in to such an early class today, knowing that this is hard. And once again, reminding ourselves that we are capable of anything. But at the same time, reminding ourselves that we do not have to do everything. Allowing us to take life one step at a time if that feels best for us. And leaving here today knowing that you are not a measure of productivity. You are not your job. You're not any thesis, but you're a unique individual with unique needs that deserve to be met. Your wants even deserve to be met. Telling ourselves with an inhale before we leave today that we are amazing. Exhaling, believing that you're capable. And then for these next few minutes of class, lying in silence, thinking about what we need to hear. How can we be the kindest to ourselves this morning? Reaching along with our hands out behind us, rolling up to a seated position. And we can also come onto our sides and press up. Getting started with our day today, we've come into a crisscross position. Let's inhale our hands all the way up to the sky. Bringing the palms together, thinking of, once again, something we need to hear. Exhale, we bring it down to the chest. Thank y'all all for coming today. It is 7:15 and I want you to be able to move about your day well. But if you have any questions, comments, critiques, or concerns for me, please feel free to let me know in the chat. It has been my pleasure serving y'all today, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. I will be teaching this class all summer long on Tuesday, Thursday mornings, and I'm excited to get started with y'all. But have a great day. Bye.